mentioned, my name is Akeem Shannon. Thanks for having me today. I'm excited to talk to you. I ended up getting a scholarship to go to college, and then I lose my scholarship, and I gotta come home, and I was absolutely devastated. But I made myself a promise. I wanted to be making as much as the average college graduate. I started working at Sprint store, and it was terrible. I was working there for $10 an hour plus commission. At the end of that first year, I was making about $35,000 a year. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm doing pretty good. But there was something else I learned when I got there. I met a manager, and this manager taught me about investing. The type of investment he taught me about was how to invest in the stock market. You could do this thing called penny stocks. All right, so I said, okay, cool. And he showed me, he had done it. I take $2,500 that I done slaved for, and I bet it all. Who thinks they know what happened to that $2,500? Gone, disappeared. I made another bet. It was Bitcoin. Get it? I'm like, okay, it's starting to go up a little bit. Exchange, shut down. And what I didn't realize at the time was that I wasn't investing. I was doing something else. I was gambling. And so it wasn't until I learned how do I actually invest smartly that everything started to change. Investing 101. All right, so there's a couple of different types of assets that you can invest in. One that was great was a business. Like, the cool thing about investing in a business is it's all on you, right? And eventually I did invest in a business, but the problem with investing in a business is you're not diversified. You got all your money in one place. If it works out, great. If it don't work out, well, you got no money left. So it's one option, but it's not the only option, okay? So the other types of investment you can have, and you guys may know some of these. Well, raise your hand if anybody knows any other types of investments. Stock market is one. Real estate, big one. Real estate is a very powerful investment. Gold is one. You can invest in that through the stock market. That's great. Those are really the three main that we'll talk about. A business, real estate, stocks, bonds, equities, everything you can invest in the bond market. An asset is something that you buy that makes you money. A liability is something that you buy that costs you money, okay? So let's play a game. Is a car an asset or a liability? Liability. Say it again, what'd you say? Why do you say it's an asset? Okay. He said an appreciated asset, that's true. You can use the car to make money. So what does that mean? That means it depends. If you own a car and all it does is get you from here to school, you're not making no money using it, it's a liability. It costs you money to own that car. However, if you buy a car and you use that car to do DoorDash, now that car is an asset because that car is making you money. So anything you buy can be an asset or a liability. But it's all about how you use the asset determines if it turns into a liability or not. The reason why stocks are powerful is they're very accessible. You can buy stock with $1, okay? And stocks can be a number of different things. When people say stock, they generally mean stock in a company, but all of these things that you can purchase on the market can be across the board. So it can be a stock in a business, okay? It can be a group of stocks, a part of a sector. It can be a commodity like gold or oil, or cows or chickens or whatever you want to buy. You can also buy stocks in real estate, and you can own real estate without having the money to go and actually buy the real asset. Notice with the stock market, we can actually cover all the different types of assets that exist that you can invest in, and you can do it with as little as $1. 2 months ago, I put $100 in this account. Today, it's at $113. I made 13% in 2 months. On average though, the S&P 500, which stands for the biggest 500 companies in America, it on average every year makes 7%. But as you can see here, this year is pretty good. People are making a lot of money this year. In fact, I think the stock market is up in the past years, up 40%. So if you put in $1 million, you made $400,000 in the last 12 months. You didn't do nothing, you made 400 grand. Just invest in S&P 500. This is not, you ain't touched it. You bought one thing called an ETF, which stands for electronically traded fund, which is just all that means is a group of stocks, okay? You can see here, even if you bought the stocks that I got 2 months ago, $1 million would have turned into, you would have made $130,000 off of it, or 13%. Compound interest is the way that interest compounds on itself each year. So imagine you have $100, it makes 10% interest. You go from $100 to 110, 10%. But the second year that you make 10% on that $110, now you make it that 10% off of the $110, which is actually $11. You see how every year you're making more money, you've done no work. If you have $500 today, put it in the market, S&P 500, you make 7% a year for 20 years. That means that you will earn $1,434. I'm gonna double it. Now, who thinks they knows what's gonna happen when I double this from 20 years to 40 years?
38.
He said 3,800, so basically it's gonna double, right? Go from 2 grand to 4 grand. Now watch this. Y'all see that? Y'all see what that number just turned to? It didn't double, it tripled. Whatever it is you're interested in doing, like whatever you want to be, whether it's on the court, whether it's off the court, it all translates. But hopefully, you can just have a big bag and do whatever you want. Like, that's the goal.